Hey guys, welcome back. It's your girl Toya T, and this is a Lyft video. I'm in my car. I haven't done one in a while, and I thought that I would talk about the best ways to take advantage, full advantage of guaranteed hours. Now for this is obviously just for drivers, but if you are someone who's interested in becoming a Lyft driver, this is important too. There are opportunities that Lyft gives for drivers to make more money, and they have something called guaranteed hours. They will send out something saying, if you drive between certain hours, we will guarantee that you will make $25 an hour, $45 an hour, $35 an hour, and if you do not reach it, if you do not reach that goal, then we will pay you the difference. And so if you made $15 during that hours, let's say it's from 8 to 9, and they said you'd make $35 and you don't make it, they will pay you the difference minus the Lyft fees. And so it makes it very advantageous for drivers to go out there and to drive during those certain hours. And they tend to be very high traffic hours when they are trying to get as many drivers out there as possible. So this week I had a chance, actually the last 2 weeks, but this week in particular I'll talk about. There was guaranteed hours that I was offered. I opted in. Make sure you have to opt in. So they send you an email and you have to make sure that you opt in to get the guaranteed hours. And the good thing about it is that you can opt in at any time. So if it started on Monday and you opt in on Wednesday, it will still pay you for the Monday and the Tuesday if you drove. So it goes back, it's retroactive, which is really great. So this week they were offering $35 an hour between 7 and 8 o'clock and 5 to 7 p.m. on Monday through Friday, and then also $45 an hour from 8 to 9. Now, there are certain things that I was thinking of that would have helped me not be so stressed during this. So I am trying, the whole thing is that they tell you there's certain areas that you can drive in where there's called guaranteed hours. They'll show you a map and they'll shade it in pink and tell you if you're within the designated area, you only have to pick up one ride within the designated time to get your guaranteed hours. If you pick up someone outside of the area, so I live in the suburbs, the town I live in is not in the designated Boston area that usually gets guaranteed hours. So I have to pick up two rides in the outside to be able to get the guaranteed hours. And so I always have to keep that in mind when I'm getting ready to drive. And sometimes I don't leave my house with enough time. Sometimes I'm leaving my house, it's for 5 to 7, and I'm leaving my house at like 5 o'clock. And it's a problem. So here are some tips to make sure that you get your guaranteed hours, because I'm always stressed during that first hour, like, oh my gosh, like I hope I don't get a ride request outside of the area, because then I have to try to get two, and you know that you may not know if you'll get two or not. Like if depending on the day, you might get tons of requests within an hour, but when you're trying to reach a certain goal, it makes it even worse with uncertainty, especially if you live in the suburbs and you know that the ride requests are not as, that they don't happen as often as they do in the cities. And so I would definitely suggest that you leave ahead of time. So if it takes you 30 minutes like it does for me to get into the city, or get into the areas that are usually high traffic areas, do that. I also would suggest, if you're someone like me who's part-time and is trying to only take advantage of the guaranteed hours, do not turn on your Lyft app until you get to those designated areas, because if not, you're going to get pulled back into areas that you don't want to be in. You're going to get rides that are not really that are going to distract you from possibly getting the rides that you need to get your guaranteed hours. So for example, say you turned it on, it's from 5 to 7 p.m. and you turned it on at 4:30, and all of a sudden you get a ride that takes you all the way out, like to an outer area, and then now you have to get two rides to get that guaranteed hours once 5 o'clock hits, and then you don't get any rides all the way out there because you went all the way out, and this happens. You get a request to go all the way out somewhere where ride requests are not common, and so you just wasted that time. So it's best to make sure that you get to the high traffic areas, and that's definitely tip number 2, is to make sure that you go to the areas that you know are always high traffic areas. And usually those are the areas that are the prime time areas on the Lyft app, on the map on the Lyft app. So you'll see it's shaded in pink. It's usually the downtown areas near businesses, financial districts, near local colleges. All of those areas are usually really good places during rush hours to guarantee that you will get a ride request during guaranteed hours. Also, make sure you opt in. So again, I just said that, you can opt in at any time, but don't think that you opted in and then you forgot to. So make sure, even if you think you did, just just press the button again when you get the email to opt in, and it'll tell you if you've already opted in. So if you already opted in, it's fine. It doesn't hurt you to press it to double check. But if you are not sure and you are like someone like me who thinks that you did it and you're like, oh great, I'm gonna go out on the road, and then you realize when you get your driver summary the next week that you didn't opt in, and you're like, oh crap, oh my gosh. Yeah, just make sure that you double check on that. Also make sure that you check the areas. So again, there's a difference between the designated areas and the undesignated areas. The one ride for the designated areas and the 2 rides for the undesignated areas. Make sure you know exactly where those areas are. So I assumed at first that it was only Boston proper that was the designated areas, but I found out that some of the surrounding suburbs were also included in it too. So that really helped me as I'm driving in to know that the towns that I have to cross through to get to Boston also were included. So that really relieved my stress level on that, knowing that if I left late, like I usually do, that I still have the opportunity to get a ride in the designated areas. So do that. Also, just make sure that you know the hours and you know the rules. So if you've never done guaranteed hours before, read all of the guidelines that they give you. And so make sure that they tell you that it's within the hours. So you have, if it says it's from 8 to 10 a.m., they mean the full hours, and it's usually 50 minutes. So you have to do it either, you have to turn on the app. So let's say you can turn on the app between 8 and 8:10, because you'll have 50 minutes. If you get a ride between 8 and 9 a.m., you will be able to get, that will count as long as you've been in driver mode for 50 minutes during that. So I sometimes, if I'm running late, will turn it on, make sure I turn it on like right before 8:10, like right before it hits that mark. Sometimes I'll turn it on earlier. Also, if you're trying to you have something to do after those designated hours, you can also turn it off early, so 10 minutes early, so you can turn it off at like 8:50 a.m. if you're trying to get the 8 to 9 a.m. Designated time. So just make sure that you understand all of those rules, because I've had that issue where it's like, oh my gosh, like I didn't know and I turned it on too late. You can't turn it on at 8:30 and think that you can get it from 8:30 to 9:30. It's 8 to 9, 9 to 10, not 8:30 to 9:30 and 9:30 to 10:30. So just make sure that you understand all of those things. I hope that is pretty much clear. I will put up examples of it as I'm talking, but I hope that helps anybody. If you have any tips or you have any questions about guaranteed hours or how to get them, again, they don't tell you. They just kind of just send it arbitrarily and say like, you were selected to get guaranteed hours. And I think sometimes it's either for people who have high ratings or people who haven't driven in a while. But if you haven't driven in a long time, sometimes they don't send it to you because they feel like it's a waste. But it really depends. Lyft doesn't tell you how they do things. They always keep surprising you. But I love that the last few weeks I've been getting guaranteed hours. And I hope it continues, because I made $70 last night and $80 yesterday morning. So that's $150. And I only drove 4 hours. $150. I'm gonna go shopping when I get that. All right, guys, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Let me know what you want to talk about. All right, bye-bye.